Good day, kids. Today we are going to continue our lesson about website development process. For today's lesson, we are going to know what are the following steps that we need to consider before we create our own website. So are you ready? Now let us start. Building websites involves numerous steps. You can just jump into development proper without planning and designing. So here are some of the usual steps before you edit or before we start your website. The first one is we're going to gather information or information gathering. The very first step in web development is information gathering. This is where you ask your client, why do you want to create a website? This is an important step to gather as much information from the client in order for the designer and developers to conceptualize and plan a appropriate web design. So here are some of the relevant questions that you need to consider. The first one is, you may ask, what is the purpose of your website? You may also ask, who are the target audience? For kids, businessmen, teenagers like you. Who are your customers or who are your audience? The next will be, what will be its content? Is it for kids? Is the content is for business? Is it the content is for marketing? So don't forget that when you are creating a website, information gathering is very important. Okay, so you really need to gather as much information that you want so that you will no longer uh, get a lot of trouble when it comes in developing or creating your website. So first, we need to gather as many information that we want, not only for our clients, but at the same time to the website that we are going to create. The next step is planning. Once you have gathered enough information, it is time for you to plan your website. In this stage, you will develop website wireframes and sitemaps. A sitemap gives the developers and clients a complete view of the website structure. A website wireframe, on the other hand, is considered as the blueprint of the website. So this one is what we call the sitemap, or shall we say, a sitemap shows the flow of your website, or what are the different elements that you're going to put for your website. This has a home, about, menu, or contact us. And when we say is just like a blueprint of your website. It shows how does your website will look like. Okay. Uh, Here you're going to decide or plan where you're going to put your logo, the elements, the picture, and some of the important things that you want to put in your website. So that is what we call the wireframe or the blueprint, or how does your website looks like. After your planning, then let us proceed to the designing phase. In the designing phase, aside from the sitemap and wireframe, the design phase is where you determine the appearance of your website. Your site target audience plays an important factor here. For example, a website aimed for kids should have different designs. Okay? And if your target audience is meant for businessmen, so the things for the content for the design should be in line in for businessmen as well. In this stage, communication is important between the client and the designer to meet the needs and the taste. Okay, so at the same time, when you are creating a website, you need to ask your client how does or what are the designs that you should put in creating their website. Okay, so that this is what, or this way, you will avoid misunderstanding when it comes in your website design. Next is the development phase. In the development phase, it is the phase where the actual coding happens. Developers convert the design made to an actual functional website. So the developmental phase, it's a phase wherein you are now creating your own website with different codes. Okay, so after you develop or after you already created your website, The fifth phase is the testing and delivery. Before making the website public, developers should test it to verify whether everything in the website is functioning as expected. You need to test. Testing includes the performance, the browser capability, and the optimization. When everything is good, it is now the time to upload your website. So then again, before you upload or before you deliver your website to the internet, make sure that everything works well. Okay? An FTP or file transfer protocol program is used to upload web resources to a server. The developers have to find a good hosting site. So after you already test, everything works smoothly, and you already post it to the internet, it is not at the end phase. It's because the phase is the maintenance. Your website through time must be updated on a regularly basis. Maintenance includes providing audience with new and exciting features to keep them going on visiting your website. Maintenance is also a must to attend the complaints reported by the users, such as link not working, server down, and many more. So sometimes, as time goes by, there are links, there are videos that do not work to your website. This is because of the bugs, because of viruses that can affect the performance of your website. So as a developer, you need or we need to maintain our website. This is also one way to cater all um, the things that we need to improve in our website. This is based on uh, the what we call this one. This is based on the suggestions of your customers for your website. Okay, so maintenance is not just um, making sure that everything works well at the same time. It is a one way to improve and further make your website become more exciting to other users. Now, let's proceed to website principle. The first principle that we have for the website is the balance. Balance refers to the distribution of elements across the design. This one is achieved through the layout. So always remember grade 8 that when we create our website, it should be properly aligned, or shall we say we have harmony or balance. Okay, balance means all of the elements are properly placed. Like for example, if you want to place your elements on the right size, then you can make this one or make your website looks like this one. How about if you want to put your elements on the other side or in the left side, so you can make your website looks like this one. Or sometimes the most common is that the web developers put all the elements in the center. Okay, so always remember that when we are creating our website, it must show balance. Next one is contrast. Contrast refers to the accentuation of the differences between elements in a design, not only in colors but also in font sizes and other design elements. Font size, font weight, or font family can give contrast to the text. The color change and the underline in the text also provides contrast. So applying different size images elements also achieve contrast. Perhaps, for example, you have a block of text and that is the main focus of your page. The tip is to make a section for the larger and all the surrounding elements and images which is small. So if you want to emphasize or give contrast to something, make the text big. Okay, and the other elements should be small. So when you are choosing also colors, make use of the contrasting colors. We need also to give emphasis to our website. Emphasis refers to distinguishing important elements in web design. So using semantic markups such as heading number 1 to heading number 6, we can also use paragraph. List elements like ordered list or unordered list, etc. will provide emphasis, not even if we don't have any styles. Size of elements also matters in emphasizing or de-emphasizing the design. Emphasis can also be attributed by using contrasting colors. So if you want to give emphasis to something, make the text big by using the H1 or heading number 1. Okay, and the least things we can use the H6. We have also the READM. One of the basic principles in creating a website is through READM. READM is also known as repetition. Develop an internal consistency that makes it easier for the user to understand the web design. Repetition can be achieved by repeating actual text in your HTML, adding images multiple times, or by using background create property to repeat the background image horizontally and vertically. So again, READM is about familiarization of your website. We have also unity. Unity means related elements should be placed together and the other elements should be put farther away, and those elements should be less related. Okay, so unity means that we are putting all important details in one place. Placement of elements in your layout plays a big factor in applying unity in your web design. Unity can also be applied by playing along with margins paddings of an element. So in collecting color scheme, I have here some tips that we need to consider. Number one, use natural palette colors instead of neon or bright colors. We need to put in our mind that we need to avoid very bright colors because in the long run, bright colors can really damage, okay, your viewers' eyesight. Okay, so they will get distracted because of very bright colors. So use only natural palette colors. Next is there should be a contrast between page background and its text. So again, if the background is dark, the text should be light, and vice versa. If the text is light, the background should be dark. Okay, so choose an average of 3 different colors only and then use them consistently. If you use red, blue, and green, so just make sure that you're going to use these 3 colors up to the end or in the entire presentation or in the entire design of your website. Okay, so don't make your website a rainbow. Take into consideration also your audience profile. If your audience is a businessman, so make sure that the color that you're going to use is neutral colors. If it's for kids, then what color that should be used? So we must take into consideration your audience profile. So here are some of the common colors and their common meanings. So we have here the red, the blue, the yellow, the green, the orange, the violet, the white, the black, the gray, and the brown. And as a web developer, we must have good communication skills. So as a designer or developer, it is not enough to have technical skills. You also need to have good communication skills. This is essential in order for you to work well with your co-workers or your client. Remember, the first step in web development is gathering information. So it means to say that you need to have these good communication skills to gather as much information that you want. Your client is more knowledgeable than you do about your business. You need to get the necessary information for the design to develop the website. Effective communication between two of you is a must in order for you to work on the website and to achieve your client's goal. So here are the things that you need to consider when you want to ask question to your client. Number one, who is your client and what do they do? Number two, what is the purpose of their website? Is it to share information or to market a product or service? Next is, what do they want to include on their website? Do they want to put their contact information? Do they want to put the history of their company? And many more. Or the last one is, what will be their target audience? So communication is a two-way process. To get information from them, you as a designer must also explain the process involved in web development. It is highly suggested to involve your client along the process so that the two of you can provide regular feedback. This practice is good in ensuring that your client is satisfied with your work. So when you are creating their website, you must make sure that you are giving them information about your progress. You must also keep in mind that when you're talking to your client, you must communicate using words that your client can understand. So here are other communication tips. Develop a relationship with your client by building trust. We need to give or start everything by building trust. Next one is avoid any assumption. It's better to ask question. So ask question. Don't forget that the first phase is gathering information. So ask question if there are things that you need to clarify. And the last one is explain yourself clearly so that it uh, it will be if there are conflicts that will arise, it can be avoided. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for your listening and see you in our live class.